Greetings of love and peace from the Love and Peace Kitchen. Do have a look at it. And apart from that, it really has a beautiful scent. Right, so today the Coronation Cake, the original was called Queen Elizabeth Cake and was apparently the cake presented on the Queen's coronation in 1953. We've had to change that cake, and really, in a way, it's a queen of cakes, so we've crowned it. We've called it the Coronation Cake, and it's been adapted to a vegetarian diet. So initially I'm going to sieve together 2 cups of flour and a pinch of salt. So this is self-raising flour. If you're going to use a cake flour, then you'll use 2 cups of cake flour and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. To this I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of soft brown sugar. I'm going to give that a little bit of a stir in. Make sure that the ingredients are spread nicely evenly. So this calls for 250 grams of dates. So it's a packet of dates, normal packet of dates, chopped, finely chopped, washed, and then soaked in 1 cup of boiling water and a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. So this I've let rest for a while so that the dates are luscious and soft. So I'm going to add that to my mixture. So it has a certain amount of liquid in it. I'm then going to add a 1/2 cup of melted vegan margarine. Of course, you can choose to use butter, coconut oil. This cake does have coconut, so a coconut oil will work perfectly well. And then 1/2 cup of milk. And I'm going to add here, you can use vinegar, but I mean, what is more gorgeous than a Persian pomegranate concentrate? I'm going to add a scant tablespoon of that because that will give us the necessary ingredients for a vegetarian cake, helping it to rise and have a nice consistency, and the pomegranate's going to give it a really delicious flavor as well. So I'm going to mix my ingredients in. Once again, really we don't need a lot of mixing when it comes to a vegetarian cake. We don't want the gluten to start reacting. There. I have a good mixture here. I'm just adding a drop more. My mixture will look something like that and be ready for the pan. I have greased this and lined it with parchment paper because I feel that with this cake, seeing I'm going to remove it from the tin, is going to be better with the parchment paper lining. Add this to my baking tin. Smooth it in evenly. And there it is, ready for the oven. The oven temperature is 180 degrees and it will need 30 minutes in the oven. Once it comes out, we then pour over it whilst hot a coconut mixture using 1/2 cup of cream, 1/2 cup butter or margarine, you know, whatever, coconut oil if that's your choice, 1.5 cups of dark brown sugar, soft brown sugar, and 1.5 cups of desiccated coconut. So I have here 1.5 cups of soft brown sugar, 1.5 cups of desiccated coconut, 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, 1/2 cup of cream, and 1/2 cup of butter or vegan margarine. So whilst my cake is cooking in the oven, I have blended together and cooked for a while on the stove, brought to the boil, and then turned the heat down and simmered until the sugar has completely dissolved. So here is the topping ready to go onto the cake once the cake comes out of the oven. So the topping will be poured on hot and the cake will be hot. So my topping is now well blended. The sugar has dissolved, and I'm going to pour that onto the top of the baked cake and spread it evenly onto the cake. And now this is going to go under the grill. Putting this into the oven on the middle shelf, not at its extreme heat, but hot enough. The topping is starting to bubble, and the reason for putting it under the grill is so that the coconut toasts, and so you get a really lovely flavor of a toasted coconut on the top of the cake. As you can see, the bubbles are now starting to reside, and it's beginning to toast. So it's just about ready to come out of the oven. Right, the topping is now browning. The bubbles have almost totally subsided, and it's ready to come out from under the grill. Right, so here our coronation cake has been taken out of the pan and placed on a serving plate, and you can see it's sort of quite nicely honeycombed on the top. So I'm going to cut a slice of that. Onto my plate, and that's absolutely perfect.